We're going bananas over here, Dave.
Wow, Cuzzo Max, we are locked in on Fight Bananas. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. For those first-time listening, usually we're in the studio together from the Locked In Sports Podcast with Max and Dave, but we make it work, Dave. You're on the road. I'm over here in the studio. We make it work, right?
Absolutely, buddy. I'm in the Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, living that dream one day at a time.
There we go. So, guys, Fight Bananas is locked in. You can go to fightbananas.com for the best MMA news, but most importantly, like that Facebook page for Fight Bananas. Also on Instagram, Fight Bananas, like the song Bananas. That's pretty good, right, Dave?
Wow, you never told me you were going to sing. This is amazing. Probably the best MMA podcast in the galaxy.
Oh, well, there we go. So we're locked in, Dave. So much has happened, and there's so much to talk about. But let's just start off with the most recent, the most topical. Daniel Cormier, the champ, the first ever to defend both belts while having them at the same time, taps out Derek Lewis in round 2. What were your takeaways?
My takeaway was DC went into this fight trying to get to the next fight. He didn't look past it. Some college football teams or an NFL team will lose a game a week before to a worser team looking forward to the big game. The Brock Lesnar fight is in their, in the path. That's the fight. That's the money fight for DC. Like you said, the champ. But he took care of business. I thought he looked tremendous. Anytime you defend your title in any weight class, it's a total success. DC, one of the greatest heavyweights, one of the greatest fighters of all time. It was unbelievable, Cuzzo. How about you?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, Daniel Cormier, it's almost taken for granted when you fight these fighters in the heavyweight division. We all thought Daniel Cormier was going to win. We know Derek Lewis is legit. He has knockout power in the heavyweight division. Anybody can win at any given second. We've seen Derek Lewis knock out people when he's down in the third round. But what Daniel Cormier does, and night in and night out, and he's so consistent, Dave, he's right up there now for the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I've been saying this for the last couple of months, ever since his win. You can really put him down there as the greatest ever. He's beaten some of the biggest names in the industry of MMA. And a token of information, I think it's a kind of funny. Do you know that DC has the same exact record of John Bones Jones? They're both 22-1-1.
That's interesting. But
isn't that something?
What I think is even more interesting is kind of what we've been saying on the Locked In podcast is I think this was a good setup, good leeway into Daniel Cormier versus Brock Lesnar. Daniel Cormier is already talking about it. It's almost like he's moved past John Jones in a way, and in my opinion, that makes him almost bigger, that he's not even focused on John Jones. He's like, okay, I really don't care about that anymore. I'm a champ. I've done something that only Conor and Randy and George St. Pierre has done. I'm past that. I'm fighting Brock Lesnar for the money fight from me, not for John Jones. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, and he's the one that's defended the title. Conor won the title, did not defend it. Randy won one of those titles and didn't defend it. GSP won the middleweight, never defended it, just gave it right up. DC went up a weight class, beat Stipe, who's the, maybe we all thought the greatest heavyweight of all time before DC, and then he stays in this weight class and defends the title against an 8 out of the last 9 win beast, Derek Lewis. Guys, give it up for DC. I don't care if he's the flashiest guy like Style Bender. We'll get into it because, I got locked in last week, Max. I told you about this man. But DC gets it done. He wins after wins after wins. Tap out, wrestle, knockout. DC, one of the all-time greats.
Well, let's just stay on the topic. You mentioned John Jones has the same record. Well, he's returning, and he's fighting Gustafsson for the second time, T-Mobile Arena, December 29th. Now, this is interesting because you could make the argument Gus won the first fight. It was the closest fight John Jones has ever been in. So his first fight back after all the commotion and drama outside of the octagon, he's finally making his return once again, and he's fighting against somebody who gave him the toughest time. If this isn't a huge test for John Jones, I don't know what is. What do you see from John Jones? What do you think you'll see in the rematch?
Okay. We'll have plenty of podcasts, of course, leading up to this. Maybe one of the biggest fights in MMA all year, especially with the Cyborg and Amanda Nunes on this card as well. What a great card to cap off the year of 2018. I love this fight. I don't think we'll see the greatest John Jones from 3, 4, 5 years. For one, I'm just going to call it out. The HGH or the steroids or whatever he got caught, he's got to be totally clean. There's just no way this man can get popped again. If he gets popped again, do you agree on this, Max? He never fights again in the UFC. So let's just call that one out right away. But after that I think he hasn't fought in so long. I know Gus hasn't fought a lot either in the past, but Gus has been in the gym. He fought around 10 months ago. I think Gus is the more in prime, MMA base ready. He's the fighter. I think John Jones is the bigger name trying to come back. And to be honest, I think John Jones is thinking a little bit about DC and what that can do for his career. And he's talking about Brock Lesnar at the press conference. It's like, Jones, you have a man Gus in front of you that a lot of people think you did not beat. So I think he's thinking too far ahead. We will not see the best John Jones. That's my 2 cents. I would love to hear your 5 cents.
Wow, 5 cents. You're making me blush over here. No, John Jones, you make some legitimate points, and I agree with them. For one, if he does get popped again for anything, just anything at this point, I don't care if it's bad protein powder, just don't take anything that can jeopardize your UFC career because you've had strikeout after strikeout after strikeout. This is your last and final chance here to prove that most of us think he's the greatest inside the octagon, but he has so much going outside of the octagon, it affects his legacy. So at this point, it's all in or nothing. But that being said, you make good points. I think he's focused on Daniel Cormier too much at a point because he realized how successful Daniel has been since he's been away from the octagon. And on the other hand, Alexander Gustafsson, all he talks about is John Jones. He's been wanting to fight John Jones since the first fight after the decision. So this is a huge test. And now if he can come back, Dave, clean and destroys Alexander Gustafsson, my God. I mean, do you make Daniel Cormier fight 2 more fights? Can you say, hey, look, Daniel, I know you only want to fight Brock, but we have nobody else to really test John Jones, and this would be even bigger than before. Do you see that? Can that come to fruition?
Absolutely. Money talks and bullshit walks. So that's for one. 2 is you never know. John Jones could want to steal the thunder from DC. And with him capturing this light heavyweight gold, he might want to actually head up to the heavyweight division, not worry about his weight, and beat DC for the heavyweight championship. So then John Jones becomes the champ. John Jones beat DC in both weight classes. No excuses. That to me, and I'm not a John Jones fan, if he does that and he wins both of these fights clean, beating Gus as a light heavyweight champion, beating DC as the heavyweight champion, no doubt about it, all this GSP, Randy Couture, Conor McGregor, DC talk goes away. John Bones Jones becomes the greatest MMA fighter of all time.
It's kind of hard to argue. Also on that card, though, Dave, we had Israel, the style bender, TKOing Derek Brunson in round 2, I believe. That was just unreal. That he is next level. He's next generation. I think the sky's the limit for this kid. He has the swagger. He has the dance moves. He has the skills. Dave, you and I both agree. We love seeking talent and looking at new talent. You're looking at the future right here as a locked-in prospect.
Absolutely. One of the next middleweight champions of all time. Next level. I saw this with Darren Till a year ago, and I thought he got that title shot maybe a tad too soon, and maybe the style against T. Woodley, which is an underrated welterweight champ, didn't work out for him. But Style Bender, to me, will be one of the next middleweight champions of the world. To be honest, I just hope they don't rush it. Give him time. Let him still develop. He's getting stronger. His body's getting bigger and badder every month, every, moment. Give him time. At this time next year, give him that middleweight championship match, and he will lock that in as the new middleweight champion of the world.
We also had our guy from Fusion, Jacare Souza, TKOing Chris Weidman in round 3. This was a barn burner. From round 1 to round 3, they were going at it. And what was really interesting to me is Chris Weidman's a wrestler. at heart. He's a wrestler, but he always moves forward, and he has good boxing. Under Matt Serra, obviously great coaching. Jacare from Fusion has a great ground game. I'm talking about transcendent level ground game, Dave. But they stood on the feet and just banged. It was entertaining. It was interesting. It was going back and forth. But Jacare dug deep, knocked him out in the third round, and he has to be next in line for the title shot between Whitaker and Gastelum.
Absolutely. He is definitely next. He's proven he's an all-time legend. Our man Alex Nicholson called him the Michael Jordan of the ground game. So you don't want to go on the ground with him. I think he will be the next middleweight champion. I think Whitaker retains. Jacare beats Whitaker in the spring and the summer. Jacare Fusion, Orlando, Florida becomes the new middleweight champion.
Real quick, guys, again, fightbananas.com. Like the Facebook page, Fight Bananas. I'll sing one more time, BANANAS, fightbananas.com. Also on Instagram as well, Fight Bananas. You know how to spell bananas by now. Fight Bananas. Dave, the first ever MMA trade happened between Ben Askren and Demetrius Johnson, who was the most decorated UFC champion of all time. But it's actually great for the UFC. We see Ben Askren already talking smack. He wanted to fight Khabib. He wanted to fight George St. Pierre. He trash-talked Conor McGregor. He has a hit list. But there's rumors he's fighting Robbie Lawler, and it seems like that's pretty locked in. This is a great fight for both fighters, and it means so much to both fighters. Robbie Lawler trying to rejuvenate his career. He just lost, and Ben Askren, after talking all of this trash, finally into the UFC. It's obviously a must-win fight for his first fight. How excited are you if that fight comes to fruition?
Max, you were just unbelievable for the last minute and 22 seconds, but I cannot get over your singing skills. This man, this Cuzzo, he is Max Van Alken. Follow him on all social media platforms. I'm David. We are Locked In Podcast. Guys, this is the fight to make. I've heard people have been disappointed with this. They wanted him versus Till. Of course, they wanted him versus Khabib. GSP's name has been out there. This is the fight to make. Can we not forget what Robbie Lawler did to the welterweight division? He was the most exciting fighter the last 2-3 years. Fight of the nights again and again and again. Johnny Hendricks, Rory McDonald. Robbie Lawler's coming off an injury. This match, this fight means more than anything to Robbie Lawler, like you said, to rejuvenate his career, maybe to give him a rematch against T. Woodley. And then we go to Ben Askren coming over. He needs this win. And I like that you don't give him, I know this sounds crazy. This Ben Askren's first fight in the UFC is big enough. We don't need to see him versus Khabib, Woodley, or GSP, or of course Conor McGregor right now. It's almost too big. Let's see how he does. He's coming from a different organization. And maybe Robbie Lawler puts those gloves on him and stops him in round one. Let's see what happens. I'm excited for it. I'm a fight fan. We are fight fans. So I cannot wait. I thought this was a great match make by Dana White. Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler, January 26th. I believe that's going to be on that ESPN card, the first card ever. This is outstanding. I love it. Dana White, kudos to you, my man.
Yeah, and what's like a kind of compelling point of this story is Ben Askren is known for breaking down his opponents and making them quit, almost like Khabib. He's an Olympic wrestler, arguably the most decorated wrestler in MMA history, and Robbie Lawler is someone who doesn't break. No matter how much you hit him, no matter how much you leg kick him or take him down, he doesn't break. He's a dangerous threat any point in the fight. So it's kind of see who can really implement their persona, their will, their strategy. It's going to be a top-notch fight, Dave. But a quick break. Island Fights 51, December 21st, Pensacola, Florida. You can get your tickets on Ticketmaster. Dana White's Looking for a Fight will be there. You have Greg Hardy as the main event. Michael Beast Boy Davis. You have Max Mustaki. Dave the Wave. This card is stacked.
It's unbelievably stacked. Dean Toole is putting on a card of a lifetime. You and I will be in the building. We can't wait to get locked in with everyone there. If you live in Cincinnati, Ohio, for one, take a Southwest flight and get your ass over there to Pensacola Bay Center. If you can't get there, you can always watch us on UFC Fight Pass. We can't wait. We're getting locked in, Cuzzo.
Yes, we are. Okay, so it's time. I've bit my tongue. I've held all the way till the very end. Didn't think I was going to. So, You hear this paper?
Yep, I hear it.
Okay, all right. So, it's the last on my notes here, Dave. Floyd Mayweather. Now, excuse me if I mispronounce this name. Tenshin Nasuakawa.
A+ by you.
Okay. He's an undefeated kickboxer, 27-0. This fight's taking place December 31st in Japan. Risen. Dave, before you get started on this, I have to take the floor for one moment here. Floyd is a brilliant, brilliant businessman, and he should be applauded for it. He really is always relevant. He's in his 40s now. He's already a 50-0 boxer. Really nothing left to prove but make more money, but yet he's still relevant. So for that, I do applaud him. But there is a caveat here. It is not an MMA fight as it's been kind of promoted already. This is not an MMA fight. The rules are yet to be announced. You have a kickboxer with somebody who's never thrown a kick in their life. I guarantee you there will be rules that prohibit Tenshin from throwing these type of kicks. It's going to be interesting on what these rules will be, but Dave, it will not be an MMA fight. That is locked in. What are your thoughts?
That was a deep sigh. I'm over it, Max. I really am. If you're going to fight MMA, then fight MMA. But I'm with you. You're fighting a kickboxer, and I hear that there's going to outlaw kicks. You're fighting a kickboxer. I just can't stand this. This is bugging the crap out of me. I'm about to just go crazy. I'm about to lock out Floyd Money Mayweather. That's how crazy I'm getting, Max. I just want to keep my mouth shut. I don't want to turn anyone off. Download, subscribe on all podcast platforms. Fight bananas. We're going bananas over here, Max.
All right. I agree. It is a kind of frustrating. Floyd, Conor went to your sport. You knocked him out, but he played under your rules. My opinion, I think it would almost mean more. If you want to do this, you still have nothing to prove, but if you want to do this, just go all in, man. Just go all in. Lock into your opponent with those set of rules. Don't change something that's not there. But, Dave, FightBananas.com also has a Facebook page. Make sure you guys give it a like. Fight Bananas, as well as Instagram. It was a pleasure, Dave.
Like always, Cuzzo.
Stay locked in.